Alright, welcome back for this quick tutorial on arranging objects in alignment. So I basically have shown here how I've duplicated walls, duplicated other objects that we've kind of covered in the tutorials, in previous tutorials. And today I just want to cover real quick how to move things around and align things. So again, if you go to your 4 views by snapping the space bar, you can go to your top view, for example, tap space bar, and I'll hit shaded solid with wireframe on shaded here. I can move objects around easy without having to think about it because I can just slide them around. Now to copy, of course, you can hold the shift key and make a copy of something, a clone. So that's really cool. But if you want to scale an object up or down, let me go back to by hitting the space bar and then tapping space bar again in my 3/4 view. If you want to scale an object up, notice what happens normally. The scale tool is normally at the center here, and notice these ones, the scale is at the bottom. The reason why it's the bottom is because I've moved the pivot to the bottom, and this becomes useful because when I scale up the object, watch what happens. It scales it uniformly from the bottom, where if I took this object, moved over, and tried to scale it, it's going to go through the geometry. I'm going to have to readjust, move it up, move it down, and so forth. So let me share how to change that pivot there. So what I'm going to do is move it off to the side here just so it's a little easier to see. And actually, I'm going to move these guys out of the way here. I'm just going to move them over. So I'm going to select this guy here, and I'm going to go to the side view here by hitting tapping space bar. And it looks like maybe it's the front view. Yeah, front view. Tap space bar. And here it is. And so what I want to do is move this pivot to down here. So the way you get to move the pivot tool is you hold the D key down. And the D key allows you to move your pivot, and you can grab the arrow and kind of slide it down to the bottom. But you could just eyeball it, of course, but an easier way to do that is hold D and then hold V. V is snap to point. You can kind of see the little magnet icon that's being highlighted when I hold down V after I hit D. And I grab it, and it slowly snaps to the verts. So it's snapping that bottom vert. Once I get to the bottom, then I just release everything. But again, you have to hit D and then hold down, so hit D and then hold down V. So you don't have to hold them both at the same time. Once you hit D, you're in that mode. And then when you're done, just hit D again to release till you see it like this. Once you do that, if we tap spacebar out, you can see now, if we tap spacebar here, that when I scale this up, it is now scaling from the bottom. And now I don't have to worry about lining it up or down, especially with these wall structures. So a pretty handy little technique. So yeah, basically I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep adding more walls and stuff. You know, again, duplicating just by holding the shift key and moving it in position. The next tutorial will cover lighting and then finally rendering. Cheers.